right? I have to wear this hat again. What does my contract say?
Yeah, that's the start of the podcast, mate. Hello and welcome to the bonus Patreon podcast.
Yeah. I've put it back on for a bit of a joke because we went back into the kitchen where the cooking is happening at the moment.
So if you caught the actual weekly podcast, Jake had a chef hat on.
For a bit of it.
For a bit of it. That's because Jake and my wife Laura are cooking, and Shan, you know,
she's
Shan's
involved.
In there.
Yeah,
Shan's wife, Jake's wife.
Yeah, she's also involved. We're cooking a Thanksgiving dinner.
Me and Liam are just sort of
chilling,
smiling,
well, judging,
working around.
Ultimately,
yeah.
Well,
we're the main event, really.
I don't know how it happened. I'd like to think it was in solidarity of our American fans because it is hard being an American. So to reach out and really empathise with you all, we thought let's have a Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, well, it was Laura's idea, wasn't it?
It was Laura's idea.
Laura's Friendsgiving, as she's calling it.
Yeah. So we're having a Friendsgiving dinner. So it's like a Sunday dinner. We're not doing like the American thing. Because the American tradition is turkey, green beans, which we do have, and then pumpkin pie, which is not pumpkin. Did you know? A little fun fact for you there, guys.
Oh, okay.
Pumpkin is too fibrous to be like enjoyably edible.
Yeah.
So pumpkin pie is actually sweet potato. So there we go.
That makes more sense.
So it's actually you know if you ever see those, it's a weird thing that not weird but very unusual to our culture that Americans do where they put like marshmallow shit or like whipped cream on sweet potato and have it as dessert.
They don't give a shit, do they?
They just don't give a hoot.
Yeah.
So that's what. So they're having pumpkin pie. So that's it. It sounds disgusting.
Anyway, the point is, we're not having that. We're having.
It's pretty much like a Sunday roast.
We're
beef,
having a Sunday roast. Yeah. We're eating it on the old It's Friday Tomorrow show and the original podcast table.
So,
which
has been gathering dust for a while, I'm sure.
It was the if you're interested in getting such a table, it's the barbecue and party table available at Home Bargains.
Mm-hmm.
It's £30, but it's it's done as well, isn't it? It's done as well.
We'll be we'll put a picture on Twitter. I hope that's my plan. They'll put a picture. Laura's already took all the pictures to put on the old Instagram. That not our Instagram. Imagine if she had. Free reign of that.
Imagine we hadn't. Do we have an Instagram?
No, I don't think we do.
There we go.
Maybe we do. I don't know.
I think we might. You know.
What?
I think I saw an email in our inbox from Instagram.
Oh, maybe we do.
And it was at the Special Moves email.
I've got maybe when we were setting everything up and just we might have done it to like box it off or something.
Like a complete media blitz.
Because I don't really ever use it Instagram, like personally.
No,
I've got my own Instagram and I use it if I'm travelling. Because it's more of a document. Because I've been to like 7 countries in 7 months, so I was like, I forget things a lot. So I thought I'd take a couple of pictures, but I never really do. Like I see all these people on Instagram who are like every single like minor event in their life is documented perfectly in stories and highlights and stuff, and I'm just like, I haven't got any pictures of me going to Austria. Like, if I forget that, I'm fucked. I might as well not have gone.
I take photos, but it's exactly what you're saying there. It's like just like bad memory. I don't really take photos of like people. I just take photos of places, and I like to remember where I was and stuff like that, and because I haven't got a very good certainly not a very good photographic visual memory anyway. I can't really so I like having photos for that reason. But anyway, we're having a meal, and that's gonna be nice.
And last week, Laura said, "Can we get chef hats?" And then she bought 2 chef hats.
Yeah. So Laura's actually has not taken her chef hat off.
She is actually preparing food in the kitchen though, so it's good. It's like a scene of Ratatouille in there. Yeah. It's good. It's very, very cool.
So that's gonna be nice. We've got a lot of extracurriculars coming up, really, haven't we? We've got this, and we've also got We're going for a bit of
Christmas,
bit of a meal, Christmas party thing.
This is my only Christmas meal because I don't have one of my job, right?
Yeah, it's the only one I've got as well.
And staff party, isn't it? We've got to have a staff party,
and then
Star Wars,
and then we're seeing Star Wars together, which is the final part of the final trilogy. In the trilogy,
the end of the Skywalker saga.
This is the thing now. It's being called, instead of being called Star Wars.
Yeah.
All of Star Wars as you know it is now really the Skywalker story.
Right.
And then it's, freeing up the universe.
And then whatever comes next will be its own thing. Yeah,
exactly. So this is going to be the end of the Skywalker saga. And whether or not that means Rey and John Boyega and these new characters, does that mean that they're over as well? I don't know. I don't know.
It kind of seems that way.
Yeah, do you reckon?
I would say maybe. It seems a bit messy.
Because the only other thing we know that's coming is Ryan Johnson's getting his own trilogy, and that's meant to be like far removed from
which I'm
far
well
away.
into. I'm into the idea of that big style. Ryan Johnson, the director of Last Jedi. Right? So that sounds ace. But the thing is, you never know with it, right? Because at the moment, Disney owns it, and this is the way of it, and they're saying this is the end of the Skywalker story. But you have got to remember that Star Wars was originally just a film, which George Lucas always said that he intended to be a saga of 3 films, and then he managed to make that happen because Star Wars was a success. And then he said, oh no, I always intended for Darth Vader's story to be the central thing. Here are 3 prequels. And then Disney come in and they go, actually, there's another 3 films that happen after the original.
Well,
so it's changing all the time,
Lucas,
isn't it?
he did have a plan for the sequel trilogy, and
Yeah.
Disney threw it out.
Yeah.
He gave it to him when they bought it, and they're like, cool, no thanks.
We'll do it ourselves.
And brought in JJ.
That's funny because that was piss him off at night.
Sitting on his billions. He's probably got
his billions of dollars.
Which, I think creatively it probably does hurt him, but that's what he signed away, isn't it? That's what he knew what he was signing.
It's totally true. I seen this about Taylor Swift recently. She sold her soul to a record label, as you do, right? If you want some money, she got loads of fucking money. She doesn't own the rights to her old songs anymore, and so she can't perform her old songs as part of a big celebration at the moment. And she's kicking off about it. She wrote them, she meant them stuff, but at the end of the day, she sold the rights to those songs for millions. Her decision. She doesn't own them anymore, and this is a big kind of conversation at the moment. Whereas people were saying, well, if you owned the car and sold the car on, you couldn't complain about not driving the car. But then there's other people saying, well, it's not like that. She built the car from scratch. It's part, it wouldn't exist without her. And then people saying, well, does that matter? So there's some big thing about this creative control I've seen on the internet, which is quite funny. It's funny because it's Taylor Swift, so a lot of the fans are basically like American version of the BTS fandom, and it's like just screeching and arguing. I've been quite interested in this.
No, it is interesting because I think all of that stuff, the recording, if you go right back to someone performs a song and that is the only chance that you get to hear it, and then suddenly there's technology that allows you to record that song, which means you can buy and sell that song but then now it's like digital services where you subscribe for access to the song for life, and if you've paid for all these albums on iTunes and you die, you can't pass your music collection on to your kids and stuff. So it's like a constantly evolving thing, and that is part of it. Like the whole idea of a record label even being a thing it's pretty interesting, I reckon. There's just people who aren't really involved in the making of the music in terms of creativity.
Yeah, very exploitative, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember, when the X Factor was in full swing, people were talking about it being very predatory and killing music and stuff like that. But and then what I found was funny was a lot of people were saying it's not like the glory days of music when music was better, like Motown. And Motown is one of the most, I reckon there'll be a documentary about this on Netflix. It's prime for one of these. Motown, it was so bad for that sort of thing. It really was dead similar. It was black people making music written and for white people because black records sold better, and none of them wrote their songs. They didn't have a say in it. It was basically like karaoke. It was really mad. They got 8% of the records. Look at Marvin Gaye's estate and how much money Marvin Gaye made on loads of the Motown records. It's insane. It's one of the most crazy stories, and people don't really talk about it because they think that there's so much soul behind that music, and it was really written by the people singing it. Marvin Gaye didn't believe in what he was singing. He didn't write it off it. It's so crazy when you kind of look into how that was and stuff like that. It's no different in One Direction, say. It's exactly the same, in fact.
Yeah.
People wouldn't, I was watching TV last night, actually. It was just on, and it was X Factor Celebrity, and that's a fucking shit show, It's can't be doing it.
I don't think I've seen it for the name that always comes to my head is Joe McElderry. So that was the last one I saw, whatever that name is associated with.
That was 6 years ago.
Right.
So
feels longer to me, but okay.
Yeah.
I don't really know. And I think it was the last time I ever really saw any sort of X Factor. And the reason I remember it, because I was like, Simon Cowell style, right? He came, the first episode that he was in, I was like, he's going to win it.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure he did fucking win
Star.
star.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Star. Okay. And I was totally right, and I was like, fucking hell.
It's not like he decides anyway.
Yeah.
It's his show, his production company.
Do you know
his
what?
record
Some
label.
a weird thing is like watching any reality TV is seeing the edits give it away.
Yeah.
Especially on American TV. MasterChef, right? I'm a big fan of MasterChef. You can guess in 3 episodes who's going to win it. Drag Race UK just finished up. I knew who was going to win from episode 1, I reckon.
Yeah.
And like
you're right, yeah. It's the production gives it away. Like the how much time they spend on them and how much, like, what the story is and stuff.
And if there's like a contestant that you've not seen pretty much at all, and then all of a sudden they get focused on a lot, and then in the first one of the 2 challenges they fail, you think they're out this week, and this is like their moment in the sun sort of thing. It's so like
you can even see it in dramas. It's like American drama. If you watch like the Previously On, there's a character who hasn't been seen for like 2 seasons, and you're like, well, now I know they're going to be in it, so you've ruined the surprise.
Yes, I don't get that. Like
they just show a random character who hasn't been mentioned.
Game of Thrones was quite bad for that, you know.
Yeah,
it was showing you like a big plot device from season 3 in season 8, and you're like, oh, I wonder what this is going to be about.
Yeah.
So it's pretty patronising and pretty annoying.
It's bad, isn't it? And
Instead of just leaving it as a nice, oh wow, like surprise moment.
It's a difficult one, though, isn't it? Like putting Previously Ons, because you do need to give them the catch up so they understand and they remember stuff, but it's probably really hard as well to like remind them of things enough so that the surprise lands. But then if you actually show the person, like you're saying, if someone
it's a surprise like appearance from someone you've not seen,
like
I think The Walking Dead did it.
They do it all the time,
with a character who doesn't appear after episode 1 for like 7 seasons.
Morgan, I think.
Alright, I don't want to say that.
Oh, sorry. Well, it was ages.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that is like 4 seasons ago, isn't it?
I haven't watched The Walking Dead since season 5.
So Morgan appears after like 7 seasons, but it has a Previously On from the first ever. And you're like, I wonder who. But then I think you see him, but he's wearing, if I remember right, like a paintball outfit.
It's not immediately
like like someone's
he's got like
stalking
full
him.
on hockey gear.
Yeah, that's what it is, hockey gear. It's a paintball gear. But yeah,
he's going around with like machetes and shite, isn't he?
And you're like, who could that be? I wonder what that Previously On was all about. Yeah, it's very. Yeah. Have you guys been watching much telly?
No, I've been trying a little bit with Mr. Robot. I watched a few documentaries, but I can't remember if I've said on the bonus podcast. I watched the Defiant ones. This little,
we talked about Dr. Dre last week.
Miniseries. Was that on the bonus podcast?
Yeah, we talked about
that. Yeah,
did we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I watched that, and other than that, I'll tell you what I did give another run at was The Good Place.
Oh yeah,
on Netflix. And
one more episode left of that now.
Yeah,
forever.
Good.
What?
One more episode of The Good Place next Friday.
Good.
The final ever episode?
Yep. Final ever episode.
Have you watched this week's episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
It needs to end.
It needs to end. It needed to end last season, to be honest.
Well, you've got a week to wait.
Yeah.
It's, I thought there was one episode this season that got me back in, and I was like, oh, that's quite good. I quite like the ending. But what happened, I reckon, is the show became absolutely obsessed with the mechanics of the rules of the good place and the bad place and the tests that they were doing, and no, this is not how the experiment works, and it's like, what the fuck? You can't relate to any of what they're talking about a lot of the time because they're just talking about, like I said, the actual mechanics of how things work.
Well, unless you've got like a philosophy degree or something.
But even that,
it's the rules that the show makes up about how the good place and the bad place works, and the rules of like the specific experiment that they're doing in that season, and things like that. And
I know what you mean.
And most of the drama is based around explaining that stuff. Yeah, and the laughs are like just completely disappeared.
They are so Big Bang Theory, aren't they? Like I was saying to you guys about Tahani, like you know the formula. Yeah. She's gonna say, "Oh, I know all about disappointment." It's just like when I was something, celebrity, something.
Well, the last episode, this one that's just been, it's not a spoiler, don't worry, but it's like Tahani goes, oh, this isn't as much as a disaster as when I threw Timothy Chalamet's bar mitzvah.
Exactly.
And it's like, but they've got that every episode for like season 2 onwards.
It is, honestly. It's like, I haven't seen so much fear since I had brunch with Sylvester Stallone's driving instructor. Mm-hmm. There we go, guys. I just did a good place there. On the spot, baby.
It feels like it's been spinning its wheels.
That's like, I write that down now and I go, right, that's Tahani episode 1. 2, Jason Statham's Zip, Wire and Shut to know, too similar.
Yeah.
It's just, you can see, I hate seeing the cogs. I hate seeing behind
same with Jason, though. Like, he'll come out and say, oh, it's like that time I threw
a Molotov.
Threw a hammer at a seagull while I was riding a 4x4 quad bike or whatever.
Yeah. It's fuck off, isn't it? Kristen Bell's the only reason I watch it now, because the characters.
She's great, but I do like.
I like Ted Danson.
Ted Danson. I like his he's got really good like physicality. I think like he's good
he's good.
Like nervous energy and stuff when he feels like he's got things right and he's onto something. I like
how he rubs his hands and stuff. He's good.
You heard that he's apparently meant to be the lead in a new Tina Fey comedy show.
Oh really?
Yeah. So that could be good.
Okay.
Tim Danson, Ted Danson and Tina Fey would make one hell of a combo.
Feels like very believable. That I feel like there's got to be a Tim Danson.
If I was a lawyer, that'd be my name. Tim Danson,
attorney at law,
Esquire.
He seems like the kind of character that Leonardo DiCaprio was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like an old Western actor who's maybe in a few TV series starring Tim Danson.
Yeah. It's something, a good place. Speaking of Kristen Bell,
go on.
I watched Frozen 2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was quite good.
How many stars, mate?
How many stars?
How many snowflakes?
Out of 5.
3.
Yeah.
Respectable.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's a bit weird that it's kind of trying to grow with the audience, I guess. I'm imagining it was the first film's aiming at 5-year-olds, and this is aiming for like 12-year-olds maybe. It's very video gamey.
Yeah.
Very side questy. Very like The Witcher 3. There's like places of power in it. Honestly, there's like giant
I'd love if Geralt's voice actor.
I couldn't stop hearing it in my head.
Imagine if he was like, he'd be so good as like a reindeer.
Troll.
I reckon no, like a in Ice Age sort of thing. Like he's
well,
friendly.
There's a whole
but
colony of reindeer in this, so he could have just voiced one of them. But I was like, thinking. The thing is, you can see the Disney boardroom meetings.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I won't talk about the main plot twist, right? But there is a few very weird things in it all the way through that are very obvious, and there's like perceived enemies that clearly aren't enemies because Disney wouldn't dare make these people bad. Like, for example, like you think that this race of Native Americans are bad, as if Disney are going to make a race of like Native Americans bad on a Thanksgiving weekend. It's not happening. So you knew that there was going to be something there, like, because they're saying we're not bad, and then you don't know or not. But the way that the story is very side questy. Like, I'll tell you, the basic plot of it is this: Elsa hears a voice in her head constantly calling her back to this place where was a home but wasn't, like Hunt in the Hill House. I couldn't stop thinking about that. And then, but she goes into this forest which is covered in mist, and it's like there's like a magic seal on it, and all of the people trapped in the forest can't escape, and they've been in there for like 35 years or something. And to get out, she needs to find the secret of the fifth spirit that is a mixture between the elements and the humans, so like a demigod kind of thing.
Sounds very Zelda-ish, this.
It is. So so instead of the Triforce, so there's 4, there's air, wind, fire, and water. Air, earth. Air and wind are the same thing, isn't it? Yeah. Air, earth. So like, and then so Elsa's got to like calm the raging spirits of each one of these elements, and like harness their powers to find this fifth spirit, which can unlock the power to let all these people free. It's very video gaming, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a bit fetch questy. It looks stunning. It's quite funny at some points. It's just a little bit too. There's a lot going on. I don't know if small kids would like it. I
mean, a lot of what I've read and heard and watched and stuff is people saying, how Toy Story 2 is, you could make a case for it being better than Toy Story 1. Mm-hmm. This ain't that. But it's like a solid follow-up.
I don't think it's, Toy Story 2 to Toy Story 1 now.
Is it more like a Toy Story 4 situation where it's good? Probably didn't
I
need
never
to
watched
exist.
Toy Story 3 or 4, guys,
Oh,
3 is good.
3, I watched 3 and 4.
3 is amazing. 4 is also very good, but, if it didn't come out,
I
don't think anyone would be any indifferent.
Yeah.
I wasn't too, I don't know, into the Toy Story films, and then when 3 came out, and everyone, all like, I think I was in 6th form at the time, and all the 17-year-olds were like, "This is for us, guys. Hope there's no fucking kids there." I was like,
"You're too cool for that one, yeah."
Well, yeah, I don't want to be precious about the past when I can just carry on watching new shit, and it's all a bit nostalgia. Toy Story 3 seemed to be about growing up, moving on, and I was.
You watched it?
Well, no.
It's good.
Yeah, but it's not for me. It seems too sentimental, and based on every single thing I've heard from it, it seems like it's just going to be a lot of that and whatever. So 4, Sean and Ellie went to see it, and that seemed like more of the same. It's a generational handover, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right enough that I don't need to see it. Thank you.
Well, if you haven't even seen 3,
yeah,
3 is a higher thing than 4. Sure.
And by the way, it's one of these when I say I haven't seen it, but it's like it's like one of the Star Wars 5 or 6 or whatever. I know what happens.
Star Wars 5 or whatever.
Empire.
Yeah, that one.
One of the best fucking sci-fi motherfucking films ever made.
So you know what we was talking about in a regular podcast, we was on about, what are you going to do in your Christmas break? I need to watch Star Wars 1, 2, 3.
Who was talking like that? I don't remember anyone.
No, I need to watch Star Wars 1, 2, 3, not 4, because I've seen it 2 times now, and I've seen Star Wars 7, which is basically that again. So I'm not going to watch 4. 5, 6.
Jesus Christ.
Because so before I
can't believe these words have been spoken on my own fucking sofa. Do you know what I mean? Like that.
It is.
This is the most personal attack.
So I need to watch Star Wars 1, 2, 3. I've seen 1.
I've seen 4 twice now, so I don't have to see it again. It's the most.
No, but I properly know. Like, I want to recap, right? But I only watched 4 a couple of years ago. And maybe I'll watch it, but I'm going to catch up before we go in and see the last one in the Skywalker saga.
Fucking whatever.
But it's one of them, like 5 or 6. I know the plot of pretty much both of them. Like, yeah, we know the big twist.
They're so ingrained.
I know about that, like Toy Story 3. Yeah, I know about that bear in it, like the kindergarten bear.
All I'm saying is, I can't understand how we can agree so thoroughly on Lord of the Rings, which is insanely predictable, and it's not about the story beats, innit?
It's wizards.
Star Wars is the same thing.
Wizards.
Star Wars is the same thing, but you're not a big spaceman, so I'll allow it.
That's what it is, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's like a Skyrim versus Fallout shtick, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just rocket ships and space and all that. It's never done it for me,
But that's the whole thing about Star Wars. Is like it was meant. Obi-Wan Kenobi was a space wizard. Do you know what I mean? He was a wizard. He was a desert wizard, right?
Even as magic and that. You're right.
Exactly, and he's got his own. The lightsaber is like its own, like combination of a sword and a magical staff, and it's fucking beautiful.
Not enough goblins for my. I'll tell you what as well.
The Jawas are close enough.
No. I'll tell you something.
Liam's like tagging himself in. It's like,
they
got him.
They're close enough to goblins.
They
steal shit.
Well, Pixar have been making this high fantasy story for a while called Onward or Onwards.
Yeah.
With Chris Pratt and
so there's been
Tom
a bit
Holland,
of artwork or something, right? If I remember.
There's a trailer now.
Is there a trailer?
Yeah, I was just about to say I saw it. As far as I know, like it debuted when Frozen came out, right?
Yeah,
cool.
And I saw it before Frozen 2 was on. It was the trailer, and I didn't realize it was in like modern day. It's basically like 2 brothers.
Oh.
They do a spell to bring their dad back, who's dead. But the spell fucks up, so he's only legs. So it's the legs of their dad.
Oh, nice.
And they've got till the end of the day, sunset, to bring the rest of him back.
Very Shrek.
Or else he's gone forever. So Chris Pratt, who's like a biker metalhead with like leather jacket with patches on it, and
he's a lovable biker metalhead with
a bit chubby as well.
Chris Pratt was on right? Yeah, he has put a bit of weight back on.
And he's and then there's like this dorky. His little brother, I think it is, or cousin or something, who's like training to be a sorcerer, who did the spell, and their dad's legs.
That's good though. That's fucking. I'm into that.
That's high concept. But I like it.
I like it. Apart from I couldn't help thinking it's something I've not seen, but I've seen enough for my lifetime and probably both of yours as well. The fact that it's like fairies and elves and stuff, but in this like biker world,
like Bright.
And it'll probably be better than Bright, though.
It reminded me of Bright a bit. I was like, oh, they're doing that, like, there's like a ghettos where the elves live and stuff. But obviously, it's Disney Pixar, so there's not ghettos.
It's not like LA gangs with orcs.
Yeah, there wasn't pixies shooting up or anything.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's that kind
of... pixie dust.
That's what the drug's called. Yeah, I was thinking, so there's not, like, it's not a full like bright thing, but it's got that sort of thing going on. So I thought that looked pretty cool.
Sounds good. Yeah, that sounds alright. That I watched quite a few films this week, but they're all old. But one new one I watched was Brittany Runs a Marathon, and it was the woman from
I've heard of this.
Workaholics. I think her name is something Gillian Bell or something like that, or something like that. But it's good. It's one of them films where it's about a sort of overweight woman. She's like 28, 29. She's having a bit of like a young midlife crisis, feeling like I'm
quarter life crisis.
Yeah, I guess that's what you call it, innit? And but it's like well written, good characters.
So she decides to run a marathon.
She runs a marathon, but it's because the premise is so like, all right, and then she's going to lose a load of weight and she's going to change her perception of herself. But it was good. It was good. Like it was. It could have been so rubbish and forgettable, but it was a good solid film. And I thought, if you want a film about like one character who's just who's very highly relatable in a lot of ways, and it's that like sort of New York late 20s, early 30s type woman, doing different odd jobs and stuff, and it's like a character I feel like I've seen a million times before, but I do like her quite a lot as just an actor, as like a like Seth Rogen type who's like not hilarious, but just like a lot, but then when it came to like doing drama and she was good, man. And to think that the first thing I saw her in was Workaholics, which is possibly like one of the stupidest programs I've ever seen.
I think she was in 22 Jump Street.
That seems like a good fit. I don't know. I've seen 22 Jump Street. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it was good. Brittany Runs a Marathon. It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, it's in cinemas. It's like one of them Amazon jobs.
One of those simultaneous release jobs.
Oh, in cinemas like now?
I think so. Or maybe it was recently. Like a couple of weeks ago or something.
For sure.
But yeah, it's on Prime, and it's called Brittany Runs a Marathon, and it's good.
Okay. That sounds good. Liam, have you seen anything?
I've watched quite a few films, actually.
Yes.
I'll try and go in chronological order.
I've seen a few films, and I said, forget all of them. Yeah, this is the latest one.
When you say chronological, do you mean the year that they were made, or the
order which you watched
them?
How do you want it, baby?
Yeah.
Student
of film
make it happen.
Yeah.
Because Christmas is fast approaching.
Yeah.
I watched... And I'm always in the mood for like alternative Christmas films. Okay. So I watched one called Anna and the Apocalypse, which is about a high school student, a sixth form student in Scotland. And
British.
It's a comedy musical with zombies.
I've heard of this.
It's got full-on musical numbers in it. Yeah. It's got full-on like gory zombie kills.
Quite new.
Last year it came out, I think.
Oh, right.
And it was just on TV. It was on Sky TV, and I thought, that looks fun. I'll go watch. And it was a very charming little film, like hour and a half.
I've never heard of it, but it sounds pretty cool.
It's like it's got the guy who plays Dennis Pennis in it.
Oh yeah,
Paul Kay, I think his name.
Yeah, he's in. He's the fucker from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
the guy that brings back a Beric Dondarrion. He's the red mage kind of character.
Oh, right.
You know, the guy that can keep bringing Beric back from the brother about Banner's guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Like he's like the high school headmaster, like utter prick type.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like no one you've ever heard of is in this film. It's all like up and comers.
Paul Kay.
Yeah. Apart from he's probably the biggest name in it. And that's only if you're like no British TV sort of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very charming little film, very funny, quite grim at times as well. It never loses that horror edge to it. And yeah, just the occasional little song and dance number.
Not too far away from Frozen 2, that's better sounds like.
Yeah, but if you're looking for if you're into Christmas films but you want something like a bit more adult Christmas or edgier, if you want that. It's quite good.
Yeah.
After that, I watched Gemini Man, the hit Will Smith action film that tanked.
Yeah, that's the follow-up he did after Bright, if I remember rightly.
So
I can't remember if I said this to you before, guys, but not in a podcast, but I think that he has gone. He's probably like the least bankable sort of star there is, considering where he was. In terms of
he doesn't have the same draw as he
definitely doesn't.
He's not a Tom Cruise.
If you think of if I had to think, who's the biggest single? We talked about this before, definitely. But who's the biggest single most sellable actor at the moment? It's probably The Rock, right? You put him in anything, people will fucking go and watch it. right? Just in terms of pure, like, it doesn't matter what the film is, put him on the edge of a skyscraper, put him as a fucking...
I'd say he's up there. Yeah, him.
Who else?
That, Idris Elba's pretty big.
No way is Idris Elba as big as
Idris
The Rock.
Elba's got a bit of prestige to him, though.
Yeah, Idris Elba's been in bigger films, man, and you'd think... He's always a villain, though.
Okay, imagine
he's in that
Skyscraper, but it was Idris Elba instead of The Rock.
People would watch that.
They would watch it in the same numbers as The Rock. I don't know.
No, you're right, yeah.
It's just, I think he's just pure, like... He's got to be like the highest earning or something.
He's the action hero.
Yeah, and you can drop him in any generic action film, and he'll make it work. Right?
You're right. You're right.
And so the Will Smith was that, I reckon, for a long time, like in the 90s,
early 2000s.
I know what you mean, though. He was like, and you know what? It's just cutting in. You can't really say it without sounding judgy, innit? But he was cool then. He's not really cool now.
Well, he's
what Hollywood perceive as cool.
He's doing what, like, so I think if you're that kind of star, you can do two things. You can do what Tom Cruise has done and just keep being that same guy and hope you can pull it off.
Go more and more insane with every film you do.
And do your, and try and still make that work. Or you can do, like, you can evolve and adapt, like Liam Neeson has evolved out of doing, like...
He's gone from serious drama
Schindler's
to, like,
List
schlocky action.
to battering people. Like, he's adapted over his career, right?
He's gone from potential Oscar winner to straight to the
Man with gun. Yeah.
So you can do that thing of, like, if you've been around for that long, which Will Smith's been around for a long time now, it is decades now, isn't it?
Since the 80s,
yeah.
So you need to either adapt or try and do what Tom Cruise has done. He's tried to do what Tom Cruise has done, and he's basically taking films that he could have taken in the 90s and taking roles he could have taken in the 90s, but it's just not working, is it?
Yeah, so Gemini Man, though, right?
Which is pretty much talking about taking on roles from the 90s.
This film has been in development hell since the 90s. It was originally meant... Sylvester Stallone was attached to it at one point. Anyway, the film has two big gimmicks. The first one is it's Will Smith versus young Will Smith.
That's another little 90s link up there, isn't it? As well?
It's very face-off in its premise, but like with a clone instead of swapping identities.
Yeah.
And the second gimmick is it was shot at 120 FPS.
Yeah, which you can't see it in 120 FPS everywhere. But
no, the home rental version is only in standard 24, so I have no idea if that added or detracted from the film. So I can't tell you about that.
Got a pretty good guess on, mate, to be honest.
But so like. You can see it a little bit, like everything looks very garish,
Yeah.
Because everything's so crisp and clear, it looks like a shite soap opera.
Like you look at The Hobbit, and that suffered massively because the prosthetics and everything, and the sets were so like sharp. That it was
even
like...
in watching the standard 24 FPS version of Gemini, you can see where they've done CGI touch-ups. It makes it so off, especially on young Will Smith.
Yeah.
Like it's like the animation on his face doesn't sync up with like the ADR lines Will Smith obviously did for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, like it's an action film. It's made by Ang Lee, who did
Brokeback
Mountain, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon,
yeah.
Life of Pi.
Smashes.
Yeah, and you think, the guy who made Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, he's going to know how to do an action film.
Yeah.
Right on.
My God, the action is terrible in this film because most of it is Will Smith versus the young version of himself. Like, you can only have one of them in the frame at a time.
Yeah.
Because obviously you need to film Will Smith twice.
Yeah.
Once as his old, like, normal self, once of his young CGI'd face.
Just cast his fucking son. Do you know what I mean? Put Will Smith's son in it. They
honestly could have put Jaden Smith in it and it probably would have turned out better.
Yeah.
But most of the action scenes are like Will Smith blindly firing his assault rifle at walls and stuff. And there's only there's only one of them in a frame at a time. The one action scene where they do have like a direct fight is pitch black. You can't see anything, and you can tell it's just Will Smith wrestling with a stuntman. And it's just like it's so bad. And like the acting, like Will Smith, he doesn't give a shit. You can tell he's just phoning it in.
Yeah. What's he done that's been good recently? I want to be wrong. I'm not even saying that he hasn't. I'm just asking.
The last film that he was in was Aladdin.
Some people are.
Was he good in that?
I've not seen it.
So Jake says no, and
but
neither of me and Liam have seen it.
I don't think he was very good, to be honest. He was too Will Smith.
Honestly.
Which, as an actor, is not what you're supposed to be doing, by the way, in case you're thinking, what's wrong with that? No, it's his job, isn't it, to just feel the part. Yeah. Don't just be Will Smith, bro.
Well,
and also, I know you can't be Robin Williams and whatever, and everyone would be, like, whinging about that, but just do something different and be yourself.
What I was going to say is possibly that he would have been given notes and stuff where Robin Williams was the most Robin Williams he's ever been as Aladdin. So, hey, Will, why don't you do the same thing, mate? But why don't you be the most Will Smith you've ever been?
Just be yourself.
Yeah, extremely just be yourself.
Yeah, for real.
Don't see Gemini Man. It's honestly, it's like a bad straight-to-video film from the 90s. Because the action's not good, the story is like the most generic sci-fi thing. It's like Will Smith is the world's best hitman, but he wants to retire, but he uncovers a conspiracy. Who do you send to kill the world's best hitman? A clone of himself. And that is literally the plot, and it's terrible.
Does a very dangerous man who uncovers a conspiracy segue nicely into the next film that you saw?
Angel Has Fallen. I don't know why I watched it. Well, actually, I watched this with my dad because my dad.
I don't know why I watched this. This makes more sense to me than Gemini Man, right?
I watched it because my dad, for some reason, likes the Has Fallen films.
So does Laura. Laura loves. That's like, I would say that's almost her favourite genre of film. It's things
Gerard
falling.
Butler action blockbuster. So Angel Has Fallen. It's the sequel to Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen. It's better than London Has Fallen, thankfully, because that one was terrible. And in this one, it's Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
He's on the edge of retiring.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
And he discovers an assassination plot on the president, played by Morgan Freeman, but he gets framed for the assassination plot.
That's juicy, that, you know. That's tasty, that.
And so Gerard Butler, he's on the run. He's
Rambo.
all alone. He's going rogue, trying to find out who's planning this assassination.
You can't trust anybody.
The one person he can trust is his estranged dad, who lives in the woods, played by Nick Nolte.
Ooh, a bit of a sort of Hobbs and Shaw off-grid job there.
Let's go to Samoa.
It even has, you can tell they filmed this just for the trailer. There's a bit in the film where he's like, no one else in my life, hey, Dad. And you can tell they did that for the trailer.
Yeah. There's a part in Frozen 2 where that happens, and when you watch the trailer, it's a bit of a big moment. But when you watch it normally, it's like,
it's so cheesy.
Stop following me through fire. And then she says, dead emotionally, if you don't want me to chase you through fire, stop walking into fire. And over the music of the trailer, you're like, ooh, it builds. But then without music, you're like, it's just...
Do you know what? Do you know how I've sort of cynically pointed out this thing of cinema laughs to you before, where I feel like that's something I just can't shake off. It's like films, blockbusters, Star Wars, Marvel films, they've all got laughs that are specifically for the cinema, and then when you bring them home 6 months later, it's just not funny, and it doesn't matter because the whole point is that they're funny in the cinema. I think that's a really good observation, because there's definitely things in films now where they're just well, we need that for the trailer, so we need
for sure.
We need that specific line, and the marketing people some sort of forethought has come into the script, and so that's
it needs to have 6
interesting. Exactly.
Angel Has Fallen, it's not terrible. It's like a very generic 90s action.
Exactly, man. Do you not think that they're like that 80s, 90s sort of? They're just definitely trash, but I mean that doesn't mean they're bad.
No,
they are bad, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't exist.
This one, the action is actually watchable. It's not bad.
Actually watchable.
Yeah.
The food is actually edible.
London Has Fallen was awful in every way. It was it did really shaky cam all the time. It was quick cutting, so you never saw any of the action.
Mark Commode's favourite, every time he that's mentioned on the Mark Commode podcast, he always says that it has a line in it saying all of the known landmarks have been destroyed.
Oh yeah.
What's the fucking difference? What is an unknown landmark? All of the known landmarks have been destroyed is a line in the film.
Honestly, Angel Has Fallen, if you watch it on a Sunday afternoon, not that bad.
Yeah.
The action is actually filmed in a way you can see it. It's no John Wick or anything, or the Matrix, but it's meh.
I quite like the sort of I quite like the thing about these Has Fallen films in the same way that I like Fast and Furious. And the same way, they know what they are, and they're not trying to be cool like John Wick, and they're not trying to be the most.
It's so dour, this film. So the only big bad point I can really think about it, apart from being very generic, is there's some comedy jokey moments that are like so out of place.
Yeah, it's cinema laughs, isn't it?
You know, like keep politics out of gaming, man. Keep comedy out of drama. That's it. That's my fuck. I'll start that position right now. Get 4 signatures.
Well, that's the core of the cinema laughs theory, isn't it? It's like that is a boardroom decision of, well, you need to get them laughing 5 or 6 times, otherwise we won't give you $200 million. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that kind of. It's
that's
like
a bit of a no-brainer, though, isn't it? To anyone writing a film,
which is why it's in every fucking film.
I want $200 million.
Yeah.
And then what was it? The final film I watched. Here you go. Final Men in Black International.
Liam, why
this
you done this to
is
yourself?
some
really
selection, man.
Yeah.
This is like a Netflix autoplay sort of like you've watched this, so therefore watch this.
Yeah.
I watched
therefore
it because Men in Black 1 I really like.
Yeah.
Men in Black 2, it's okay. It's not great. Men in Black 3 I liked. That was mostly for Jermaine Clement though, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
He's
like,
class.
and I was like, well, you know, I'll give it a chance. It's got Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. They're really good together in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Let's see what they can do. And that is all the film has to offer.
What's happened there is you've taken Taika Waititi out of the equation.
Yes.
And
like honestly, the chemistry between the two of them is the only thing that film has going for
Yeah,
it. The jokes in it just don't land. The story is predictable. Alien trying to get a super weapon to destroy the world,
which is the plot of the last 3 Men in Black films,
exactly,
I think, isn't it?
And like Liam Neeson's in it. It's like it's like, oh, is it like you can think, is he the villain? Is he not the villain?
Yeah, the trailer kind of sets.
You can probably figure out what happens. Just none of the jokes land in it. Kumail Nanjiani's in it. It's like a little alien. You think he'd be funny. He gets like. You can tell he had no enthusiasm for reading that script.
Do you know what? Yeah, I think he's gotten a lot of work out of Silicon Valley, and he's not. And
have you seen The Big Sick?
Yeah, I love that. I love The Big
real
Sick.
life, isn't it? Though, so.
Well, yeah, it's based on his and his wife's life story.
Yeah.
That's such a good film. But when he's cast in these kind of roles where it's like, I'll get him in. He's pretty funny.
They tried to get him as like the funny sidekick, but you can tell even in his voice, you can hear he's probably going. These jokes are shite.
Yeah.
And then the action scenes, just like they're not exciting in it.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Special
he play
effects
a
are
funny
okay.
alien sidekick in Mass Effect Andromeda?
I think so.
Well, just an alien psychic, really. It's
Same as this then.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit.
But, so yeah, I had out of 4 films I watched in the last week, only one of them I'd actually recommend.
And that was the musical
and
horror zombie one.
That was the Scottish musical comedy zombie horror.
Well, I watched a couple of things, but not as long and damning as that. Like I wouldn't.
Go on.
Right,
I'll do the same as you now.
I watched Mr. America.
Yeah.
Which is the crescendo of nearly 10 years of. It's the hardest thing to explain, but basically, like, do you know Tim and Eric? Yeah, Tim Heidecker has got a cinema review show called On Cinema at the Cinema, which has got a hell of a story arc, which ends in like this 5-hour Adult Swim special, which is a televised court hearing of him being charged for the murder of 20 people at a music festival that he sold illegal vape pens to that were full of drugs. That he
thought you said this was going to be long.
This is the short version. And he got out of the court hearing scot-free, so then he runs for DA. And the film Mr. America is that it's a film that you need to watch 46 hours of YouTube shorts to understand.
Yeah, wow.
And it's been written by Eric Nauticola, who is one of the writers of This Is America, which was the Sacha Baron Cohen candid camera thing where he was trying to trick politicians into saying stupid stuff. Can you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
No. You can't remember that? Okay, well, yeah, you remember it. At least
I
you
remember
saw it.
What are we talking?
So Sacha Baron Cohen, Borat and Ali G guy,
Yeah.
he did a thing this year, or was it last year?
No, it was this year, yeah.
It was like a show.
Oh,
where
the TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I went way back to
It-
like the 90s thinking
It
this
was
was
on
like some...
Channel 4, I think.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
So the guy who wrote that and who writes a lot of Tim and Eric stuff and who was one of the team of writers that did Nathan For You,
Yeah.
wrote it. And it's very, very funny. It's very, very funny, but at the same time, it's like the one thing that is like you can't explain it to people without. I watch it and Sean will just walk in and be like, oh, what's this again? It's hilarious, but it takes so long to get into. And there's throwback jokes from years ago. And like the main characters, Tim Heidecker, Greg Turkinson, and Mark Proch, who plays Colin Robinson, the energy vampire in What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
It's the fucking best, but the entry to get in is like hours and hours. So I watched
fans only type deal.
Yeah, it's fucking. Yeah, I don't know how the hell I managed to make that a film that was in a cinema. They filmed the whole thing in
probably.
4 days as well. Yeah, they filmed it in 4 days, which is like mad. So I watched
That'll be
that.
the only reason, I think, isn't it? That'll be the only reason. I think.
Maybe it was like put it in cinemas and on VOD at the same time.
Yeah, it'll be on Adult Swim in a week, like.
Yeah.
And then I watched some TV and watched Mr. Robot, which had.
So I told you that episode was good.
Mr. Robot episode this week would have been a good, probably finale episode. It was like it turned the whole show on its head again.
That's what I was going to say. Is that not a weekly occurrence?
No, it feels like...
You know from the second this episode starts, it's going to be something special.
Yeah, right. So like...
Well, they changed the aspect ratio for one.
Yeah,
so that's a big indicator. Yeah. That's a big deal.
So without saying anything about the plot, like this episode is shot in one place. The whole thing is like a stage. It's acted like a stage play, isn't it?
Yeah, very like bombastic.
There's a proper film, like a proper score, orchestra.
Split into 5 acts.
Yeah, it's in acts. It's like properly like a stage play. It's very, very, very cool. Like some of the best acting I've ever seen towards the end.
Oh, God, yeah.
Who the hell is that guy? He's not even verified on Twitter, the guy that plays the other guy who isn't Elliot. So I was like, fucking...
If you thought Rami Malek didn't deserve an Oscar, just let him have it for this Mr. Robot episode.
Yeah, it's... TV is just nothing else is comparing to it at all this season.
There's not been anything else on TV that I would put above Mr. Robot this year.
No, it's crazy. Like Better Call Saul's just been announced for next Feb, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I've been watching his documentaries. I just think it's but I can't get over how good Mr. Robot is this season. It's incredible. Like Breaking Bad season 5 level good, like mad. What have you been watching?
I watched Whitney, the documentary.
About Whitney Houston?
Yeah.
I'm a big Whitney Houston fan. I don't know if you know that. But
have you seen it?
No.
Fucking sensational.
It's amazing. I'm a big fan of the subject matter, see. So I was... There's that, and there's the new documentary about the yoga dude, Bikram.
Oh, I started watching that as well.
Is that on Netflix?
Yeah, those two are ones that I want to see.
Bikram, I watched half of that. It was really good so far, but I was tired. But Whitney is amazing, and... it's basically just speaking to the family, and it's loads and loads of archive footage, loads and loads of stills.
Sick.
And
Nice.
some really, really nice stuff with like her mum, Sissy, I think Houston. And it's just the story is incredible. And if you don't know much about Whitney, which I didn't, right, it's better, I think. The less you know, because you don't know where it's going as much.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So if you watch it and you see the things that the family are saying to begin with in the first like hour or so, and the way things transform is so well done, so well put together. Yeah. Really nice little musical moments in it, using Whitney Houston songs that are done in like a cappella, taking out all of the stuff that like there's a montage of like she becomes famous like this right in the middle, and it's like 2 minutes. Nice. And it's like the first like hit that she had. I can't remember what it is, but there's just no music behind it. It's just her vocals. And it's fucking... it's so good. It's so good. So I watched that, and that was really, really good. Yeah, the Bikram thing, that's very good as well, but I don't want to say anything. It's basically about a yogi, like a yoga teacher who's doing like hot yoga, which is like when people are just absolutely dripping with sweat in LA or something. And that's really, really interesting. It's really good.
I watched... you tell you something, before we go, maybe.
I've got a couple more. But...
Oh, have you?
I was
just going to say, speaking of like pop sensations, I've been re-watching documentaries that I watched when I was a little bit younger that were always on YouTube, and like this, I just love like when Vice was good. There was a lot of like Vice copycats doing some really interesting things on YouTube, and it was when YouTube was an exciting medium, I think. And there was like I watched a documentary about Russian brides, which was very, very good. I think it's called Mail Order Love, and it's about an agency that specialise in that. Then I watched, and I don't know if this is actually supposed to be on YouTube, but it's on YouTube, the whole thing, and I would recommend watching it. It's called I Think We're Alone Now, and it's a very interesting documentary about a stalker, and they're filming the stalker, and a super fan of the woman, Tiffany, who sings I Think We're Alone Now, and it's like got a real cool arc to it, and it's about like someone who's obsessed with her.
Yep.
And
sounds good, though.
It's
on YouTube.
Yeah,
right.
it shouldn't be, but
I'll
it
give
is.
it a watch,
Yeah, it was a straight to I think. Do you know what? I think it was on Vimeo when it first came out.
Okay.
And it's properly. I think Magnolia Films, like, it's got a proper distribution.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. It's quite short. It's about an hour and 10 minutes, and it follows that. And it's in. They do manage to speak to Tiffany in it, the film crew and stuff like that. But that's well worth watching, especially if you're into watching some like. Oof.
Yeah. I watched that. I watched a film called Searching, which is like one of these films where it all takes place.
Show?
Yeah, all takes place on a laptop screen type thing, or screens generally.
That's
I guess.
good. I like that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Well,
Unfriended.
It is. Yeah, no, for real. Yeah. So it's this format where it's like everything you're looking at is a computer screen, and you're watching things through webcams. I did like it. I really like. For the first hour, I was completely like, this is really good. It's really gripping. The like emotional drama you get out of like. People dragging pictures over to certain things and opening files and stuff. It's fucking amazing, right? And people not responding to conversations and, really, really clever. I thought near the end is a little bit... I'm going to spoil it because... Not spoil it, but I just thought it was a bit too twisty for its own good.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? It was just like... Oh, no, it's this. No, actually, it's this.
Oh.
Nope. No, again. It's this. And actually, in fact, it's this. It was like it was about 4 or 5 twists by the end.
A lot of red herrings.
Yeah. And it was which is good at the beginning. And I thought I liked the red herringy type stuff, but then it just took it a little bit too far near the end. So that was good.
I really like a gimmick like that. I think it's very clever.
Yeah, the format. Yeah,
it's pretty much you could all do it in post production, especially stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like Sam Barlow games, like Her Story and that other one.
Yeah, that's right.
It's that sort of vibe. I remember watching, like, there's a horror anthology series called VHS.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
I think there's 3 of them now. I haven't seen a third one yet. And I think it might be VHS 2, but there's one of the things is all done through a Skype call, the whole thing. And it's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that format. I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, cool. It's worth a watch. And I watched Les Mis as well.
Yay, that's good, man.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
What do you reckon of that?
I guess like the whole singing dialogue thing's not entirely for me, but I think the main it's musical. But there's a musical and there's a musical, isn't there? There's a musical where you sing songs and then there's dialogue and then there's another song and then there's dialogue. This is not that. This is like an opera. This is like So, but I like the story, but it took me a long time to get into it, and I thought like all the Anne Hathaway stuff was like.
Oscar award winning.
Exactly, and I was like, but I think it's probably because I knew that, and I was like, well, go on and fucking blow me away then.
I suppose if you go into it knowing that like how much praise she was getting for it, you're like, right, well, the bar's been set.
I saw this in London last month, and her song is the Oscar winner.
Yeah,
and everybody, even the theatre heads, are saying that's the best version. And then the version that I saw was by one of the guys from McFly's sister.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying.
And it was 10 times better. I couldn't believe how good she did it. Unreal. Unfucking real. That he's doing the Cats movie. I'm gonna go and see that day one. It looks creepy, but I'm gonna watch it. So it's a weird thing. But Les Mis, man, Hugh Jackman in it is okay. But what do you think of Russell Crowe?
Shite. Unbelievable.
Yeah, ask
no.
It's just bad as
so
fuck.
bad. Yeah, but I like Russell Crowe. I really like. Recently he was really good in The Nice Guys. I fucking really enjoyed that film.
They cast him in a musical.
It's just
star power, isn't it?
It could have been
screen presence.
But it's not like. First of all, they had quite an alright cast actually. Like Javert is a big character, but. It's the big thing.
The thing that I liked the most about it was the way that they staged it like a stage play, especially like the French Revolution stuff. Yeah. It was like fucking amazing. Like it looked like a load of actors on a stage, which is so good.
When you see the real production, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the production, but I could tell what they were doing, and it was really, really good.
It's good that it's like obvious enough like that, which is cool.
But it's a big story, isn't it? It's like a big. You can tell that it's like the book would take you like 6 months to read if you were reading it every day, kind of thing.
There's a time.
It's like War and Peace or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it is an epic. Like they did it was last Christmas actually. The BBC adaptation
of War and Peace.
No,
or Les Mis.
Well, they did both.
They did War and Peace.
Oh, did they as well? Yeah.
It was Lily James and War and Peace.
Ah, right. This was I can't remember who, but I don't think. Oh, Dominic
West.
Yeah, McNulty from The Wire, innit? He was.
He's good. I like him.
Yeah,
he's good.
He was Jean Valjean. Javert was just some like no name, and he was well better than Russell Crowe. But the adaptation on BBC was like 8 hours long, and they still skipped through the book, like burned through it.
Yeah.
So it's like, because I read the book, see, that's the first time I ever saw it. Well, the story, and like Gavroche, that little kid, is a massive part of the book. But anyway, forget that.
You know what you're saying there, yeah? I was talking about Doctor Sleep last week. There's a lot of that in Doctor Sleep where I feel like that's probably a very significant character that's just getting one tiny little sub
right, man. Like in this 8 hour adaptation, if I remember, like Fontaine, because she has this big moment, this big sing song, but like they built her story up for so long, and there's a time skip in Les Mis, which is really important, and I think they were like 6 episodes out of 8 before they even did the fucking time skip, and I was like, right. What? How are they fitting in?
Yeah.
All the Marius story.
Maybe it's meant to be like 10 and they just run out of time.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't believe it. Like it's. So what I'm saying is, even with 8 hours, it felt rushed. So the amount that they managed to fit into the film in just under 2 hours, I think, is impressive.
Isn't Eddie Redmayne annoying though?
He's a fucking dick, Eddie Redmayne. He's not a dick. I'm sure he's nice in real life. He is one of the most
annoying.
I can't tolerate him.
No, I don't know what it is.
He's very typecast, isn't he?
He always plays stuttering fool who's sheepish.
Very polite Oxford man.
You know,
I think I don't think anyone has ever looked as much like a privileged young guy who's had his parents pay him through drama school, and he was always destined to be a star because his parents had the money to make it happen.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's true, but no one has ever looked more like that to me. Like someone who's just, oh yeah, I went to this private school, and then I went to this drama college, and then I went to this finishing school, whatever type of schools.
I know what you mean. He's like in Fantastic Beasts. It's the one character where I think that, like, I believe it. He is like Newt Scamander. He's quite good.
Yeah.
Like Danish Girl,
Theory of
Stephen
Everything.
Hawking movie, especially Les Mis. That's the one.
He's got that one coming out. The Aeronauts, which is him and Felicity Jones again.
With Felicity Jones, which is such a deadly combo, isn't it? It's like, that's the money-winning...
Those Brexit combo. Yeah.
The twee British pair.
Twee British sheepish love story. Do we, don't we?
That's my most disliked type of film at the minute. I think the very twee British films, where every film that comes out is the feel-good film of the year.
The type of film, where people say it's a tonic for a weary soul on Twitter, and they've got a Union Jack as a profile picture. Following? Don't want to fucking know, mate.
Right, listen, we've been talking for 56 minutes now, which means we're overdue on the food, innit?
Yeah.
Remember the chef art conversation from the beginning of the bonus podcast?
I like it. It's a bookend for these podcasts. A start and end with it on.
Yeah.
So
it's a nice thing. So we're going to go eat or do a bit of cooking, I guess, and then eat. So see you later.